Hello everybody, Bo Kaufman here, Remax Performance Realty, your residential real estate agent in Winnipeg. I enjoy working with buyers and sellers, houses and condos right here in our city. And today I'm going to talk about the buying process, the home buying process, or condo buying, whichever you want to do. I've got it down to 6 steps, and we're going to go over those steps one by one. Understand there's different ways and there's lots of different options that you can use to buy a house, but these 6 steps, if taken in succession to each other and done right, will make the buying process the easiest, most trouble-free and stress-free process that you can have. So let's get started. Now, it's my opinion that your search should start by finding a great realtor. A lot of buyers have been conditioned over the last decade or so to start their house hunting process by getting pre-approved. There's nothing wrong with that, but when you think about it, by attending at your bank or your credit union, you're limiting yourself to only the products and services that they offer. And who's to say whether that's the best for you in your current situation? Another way to look at it is this. The house hunting process and the house buying process really involves about half a dozen specialists. In addition to the mortgage specialist, you're going to need a lawyer, a home inspector, a home insurance person, possibly a mover, and 2 or 3 other professionals. The realtor is the only one that's involved in the entire process from start to finish. He's the one that's going to show you all the houses. He or she is the one that's going to deal with your bank and bringing them the offer. The realtor is the one who's going to be there for the home inspection and hopefully hold your hand and walk you right through the process right to the end. The other thing is that a realtor will likely have contacts and connections in all of these industries. And he's going to have people that he's worked with, he or she has worked with in the past, and knows that they can get the job done for you. So first piece is find a great realtor and start looking with them. The next step is to save for your closing costs. Now, it's true, you don't know the exact price of the house, what it's going to be, but you should have a good amount of savings set aside to pay for those closing costs, like the land titles transfer tax, the legal fees, the home insurance, any possible property taxes that are going to come due as soon as you buy it. So, depending on the price of the house, and again here, this is something you discuss with your realtor, you'll probably have a good idea of what price range you're going to be in, and a good realtor will be able to tell you and figure out roughly what your closing costs are. Ballpark figure, about 2 to 2.5% of the cost of the house is going to be your closing cost. There's no use rushing off to the bank to get pre-approved until you have that much money saved, plus, of course, the 5% down or more. No use getting pre-approved until you have all that cash in the bank. The third step is actually to prepare a realistic budget. There's a lot more involved than just making the mortgage payments, and of course the property taxes and the home insurance. There's also things like heating bills, water bills, electricity bills. So again, talk to your realtor about potentially what those expenses are going to be. And much depends on the kind of house, the age of the house, the insulation and all that kind of stuff. But at least it'll give you an idea of how much to set aside each month on top of your potential mortgage payment. So that armed with all this information, knowing what your monthly expenses are and having enough money in the bank to pay for your closing costs and at least your 5% down, this is when we go to step 4, which is finally getting that pre-approval for your mortgage. Now, a couple of important points here. Make sure the pre-approval is in writing, and make sure that you ask for a rate hold. Not everybody gives it automatically, but here's how a rate hold works. For about 90, sometimes as long as 120 days, your lender will guarantee the mortgage rate that you're currently at. So, for example, right now, if the mortgage rate is 2.8%, and you don't buy a house for 2 months, but the markets have changed and the rates have gone up to 3.1%, a rate hold will guarantee you that lower, earlier pre-approved rate of 2.8%. That's just one of the many benefits of being pre-approved. They'll give you a rate hold up to 120 days. So that's why I wanted to do step 2 and 3 first, that is budgeting and saving for your down payment. There's no use being pre-approved and then needing 3 months to save up your money and wasting all that time from the pre-approval. The next step is finding the right house. And it says find the right house within your means, but there's actually two sides to that. One, of course, is to make sure that you don't overspend, that you're not, as they say, house poor, that you're still able to live and comfortably on top of everything. But the other side of the coin is not to buy a house that's too small. Because if you buy something that's too small and you outgrow it within a year, you may not get all of your money back because you spend about 3% on closing costs, and then when you list the house and sell it, you're going to spend about 4 to 5% on selling costs. So that's about 8%, and Winnipeg's market on average has been going up about 3 or 4%. So after a year, you may not get enough to cover your all of your expenses. So you want to make sure that you buy a house that's good for 4 or 5 years at least. So don't buy too small, and of course don't buy too much house that you can't afford it. And the last step, if at all possible, make your offer subject to a home inspection. Now I say if at all possible because there are still bidding wars happening in Winnipeg in certain price ranges and certain neighborhoods. And if you are up against multiple offers, getting a home inspection might be difficult. If you're the only offer, I highly recommend that you make it subject to a home inspection, because traditionally people only look at a house for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. There really isn't enough time, whereas a home inspection can take three hours. Here too, I consider home inspectors a fairly self-regulated industry. I always say that a guy with a ladder and a flashlight can call himself a home inspector. So lean on your real estate agent for some advice and some recommendations about a home inspector. Get a couple of recommendations. Check those people out online as well. But definitely, if you can at all, get a home inspection before you put in an offer or make it subject to the offer. I do hope you've enjoyed this presentation. As I said before, I work with buyers and sellers, houses and condos right here in Winnipeg. If you're looking to buy, whether it's your first time or you're upsizing or downsizing, give me a shout. I'd love to work with you and find you that perfect house. You can contact me anytime, 204-333-2202, or email me at bonoshomes@gmail.com. And as you can see, my podcast is available on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. So call me anytime. Look forward to hearing from you. Bye-bye.